Well, Halloween's about to come to a close now, and I figure, what the hey, I'm going to review one more film for this spectacular October, and this is one I failed to put on the schedule because this was just a last minute entry, and well, I've been wanting to review this for some time. So prepare yourselves as I review Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. Big D's Entertainment Rankings and Reviews. So greetings, my fellow YouTubers, and welcome to Big D's Entertainment Rankings and Reviews. My name is Noel, better known to as the Big D, and this time around I bring to you a review of this 2019 supernatural horror flick, Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, released by Lionsgate for CBS Films, along with Entertainment One, directed by Andre Avradal, based on Alvin Schwartz's book series, with a screenplay adapted by the Hageman brothers from a screen story by Guillermo del Toro, who also produced, as well as Patrick Melton and Marcus Dunstan. It's an international co-production of the US and Canada, starring Zoe Colletti, Michael Garza, Gabriel Rush, Austin Zajur, Natalie Ganzhorn, Austin Abrams, Dean Norris, Gil Bellows, and Lorraine Toussaint. I'm just a little late for its 5-year anniversary. This film was released on August 9th, 2019. And while it got some decent mixed response, it eventually became a big success. Let's get into the story. On Halloween night in 1968, in the fictional Pennsylvania town of Mill Valley, teenagers Stella, Augie, Ramon, and Chuck visit the supposedly haunted home of the Bellows family. Inside a secret room, they find a book of horror stories written by Sarah Bellows, the family's daughter. Ostracized for her albinism and accused of witchcraft when the town's children began to die mysteriously, she allegedly committed suicide in 1898. The local bully, Tommy, locks the group inside Sarah's room, along with Ruth, Chuck's sister. After Tommy leaves, the lock is mysteriously opened, and Stella takes Sarah's storybook home. Back home, Stella finds a new story called Harold, written in blood on previously blank pages. In a nearby cornfield, an inebriated Tommy is stalked by the titular Harold, his family's scarecrow. Harold stabs Tommy in the back with a pitchfork, causing him to vomit hay and undergo a violent transformation. The next day, Tommy is reported missing, and Stella and Ramon find Harold dressed in Tommy's clothes. Stella and Ramon watch in shock as a story titled The Big Toe writes itself in the storybook. Augie, the protagonist of the story, unknowingly eats stew containing the big toe of a corpse. Augie is then dragged under his bed by the corpse and disappears. Alarmed, the remaining friends try fruitlessly to destroy the book. Researching the Bells, they learn that the live-in maid, that Sylvia Baptiste, was fired after teaching Sarah witchcraft, and the rest of the family all disappeared after Sarah's suicide. However, all their names can be found in the stories suggesting the book, or Sarah killed them. Another new story called The Red Spot appears with Ruth as protagonist. Ruth is getting her makeup ready for the play and starts poking at a swollen spider bite on her cheek. The bite explodes into hundreds of tiny spiders. Ruth is rescued but is traumatized and institutionalized. The group's investigation takes them to the elderly Lulu Baptiste, Sylvia Baptiste's daughter. They learn that Sarah did not die in the Bellows house. Instead, she hanged herself in the hospital where her older brother, Dr. Ephraim Bellows, was her supervising doctor. At the hospital, the group discovered recordings that reveal Sarah's brother had ruthlessly performed electroshock therapy on her to get her to confess to killing the children. Their deaths were actually caused by the family's paper mill poisoning the town's water with mercury, so they framed Sarah when the town got suspicious. Chuck, while trying to evade hospital security, accidentally triggers an alarm which floods the hallways in the same red light from his nightmares. In the recording, Sarah begins to narrate a new story called The Red Room, with Chuck as the main character. Chuck is then attacked and cornered by the Pale Lady, a phantom from his nightmares, who absorbs him. Now for the final act and the ending. As always, you know the procedure. You have 5 seconds to stop this video, go to the description box below, and fast forward to the time below. If you've seen this movie already, please continue. Okay. Okay, you've been warned. Stella and Ramon are arrested for trespassing by Police Chief Turner, who reveals that Ramon is a Vietnam War draft dodger. Ramon reveals his brother enlisted and his dead body was returned to them in pieces. The book starts a new story called Me Tai Doti Walker. A head falls down the chimney and more body parts follow. Ramon realizes that the next creature is called the Jangling Man, a monster that frightened him as a child. The Jangling Man kills Turner while Ramon and Stella flee to the Bellows house for answers. Stella is taken back in time while Ramon tries to evade the Jangling Man. Living out Sarah's experience of abuse, Stella promises Sarah that she will tell the truth of her innocence if she stops harming people. Stella writes down the true story with her blood, and Sarah and all of her monsters vanish. Stella writes the truth about Sarah's life in the papers, keeping her promise. While Stella receives acclaim for the story, not everyone believes her. Ramon accepts his enlistment and shares an emotional goodbye with Stella before he leaves for the war. With Ruth having recovered, Stella starts looking for a way to rescue Chuck and Augie. End of story. So what did I think of Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark? Well, I must say I really enjoyed this, especially for a PG-13 rated horror flick. I must admit I loved this film for what it had to offer. It was really frightening, eerie, and suspenseful in parts. And I especially like the atmosphere and setting of the film being in the late 1960s. I gotta give it credit for that. The film did very well in the US and Canada and fair overseas, making an overall total of 104 million worldwide against its $25 to $28 million budget. The film currently sits between 77 to 78% on Rotten Tomatoes. Saying like the best-selling series of books that inspired it, this opens a creepy gateway into horror for younger genre enthusiasts. Metacritic gave it a score of 61. Unfortunately, CinemaScore gave this a C on an A plus F scale, while those at PostTrack gave it an average 3 out of 5 stars and a 53% definite recommend. Variety said the movie faithfully recreates the peak moment of half a dozen of Schwartz's most popular stories, but doesn't totally embrace the Gamel vision, referring to the infamy of the illustrations in the original book series. The New York Times called the film an agreeable bit of fan service. The Hollywood Reporter conversely termed it as a lackluster adaptation, and that the monsters depicted in the film are scary, though they'd be much more so if they felt less like IP, well, franchisable IP, and more like fervent expressions of the ills of the eras on which the film aims to comment. Bloody Disgusting said the film often works very well for several breathless minutes at a time, but in between those excellent scares, there's a lot of filler, a lot of perfunctory plotting, and a lot of mediocre character development. Well, that's understandable. But there's lots of other things to talk about. I really won't get into all these reviews. Still, it did get nominated for a couple awards at the Saturn Awards, but didn't win any, unfortunately, which those were for Best Horror Film and Best Makeup. Now then, like I said, I really liked the setting for the film being in late 60s Pennsylvania, and I thought that was really something. I also liked the music and what have you, and the score done by Marco Beltrami, who also worked on Scream, Hellboy, and other films scores along with Drubick. There was also some pretty good songs in the soundtrack, including Season of the Witch by Donovan. I think you know the guy who was behind the songs Mellow Yellow and Sunshine Superman. There was also a cover of that song in the end credits performed by international superstar Lana Del Rey. Well, recently in 2020 it was officially announced that a sequel to this was in works. Well, Alvin returning to direct in Paramount Pictures, which had absorbed CBS Films as part of its reintegration of CBS and Viacom distributing. Now, as of last August, and I do mean August of last year, according to Alvin, work continued on the project. The story had been completed, and the script was being revised. So we'll hope for the best that we'll get the sequel sometime sooner or later. For our cast, we have Zoe Colletti performing the role of Stella. I'm going to say she was really good. Michael Garza played Ramon. Really good. Gabriel Rush played Aki. Pretty good. Austin Zajur played Chuck. I'm going to give him credit for that. Natalie Ganzhorn played Ruthie, and I liked her. Austin Abrams played Tommy. Pretty good. Dean Norris appears as Stella's dad, Roy, and Gil Bellows played Police Chief Turner. And we have Lorraine Toussaint as Lulu Baptiste. So you know the cast isn't too bad. So I gotta give Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark a lot of credit for what it had to offer. Its story isn't too bad, and like I said, I like the atmosphere and feel of the 60s feel to the film. Its cast isn't too bad, and it does have a pretty good soundtrack and few good songs and what have you. So overall, Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, well, it's not too bad of a film. But would I recommend it? I'd say, sure, go ahead, give it a go. I think you'll like it. It's worth a look into. What did you think of Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark? Let me know in the comments section below. If you like this video, click the like button, subscribe, and be a part of the Big D Nation. Continue to help support my channel. Make it grow and make the views grow. Tell your friends about my channel, get them to know me. Maybe they'd like to be a part of my Big D Nation. You can also share my vids with them if you'd like as well. Join me next time when I bring to you my November schedule. So if you like this, you may want to check out my reviews for some of these other book-based films that are really horrifying. In the upper left-hand corner is my review of Goosebumps, which is more for families and kids and what have you. In the upper right-hand corner is my review of its sequel, Goosebumps 2 Haunted Halloween. And the bottom left-hand corner is my review of the Fear Street trilogy, which, of course, all of them are books from R.L. Stine. And the bottom right-hand corner is the button you can click to subscribe. If you like rankings and reviews on movies, TV, music, video games, etc., then I'm your guy. Thanks for watching. Until next time, I'm the Big D saying, see ya.